Right. Up. How goes it, everybody? On the
One more time. Let's play it again.
well, let's loop it around. Let's loop it around again. Hey,
Hey,
this
it's
is one of a kind with RVD. But guys, I mean, I'm gonna give you this chance to guess. Guess who is here today? I'll wait. It's Rob Van Dam. Rob,
Damn.
how are you, man?
Fantastic, sir. Happy Friday to you. For anyone wondering why we're doing it on different days, we're just working around our schedule. And this week, I guess maybe because we just did it on Monday, maybe that's why we thought we'd give it a few days and whatever. But you know, anyone who's making the road trips with us from day to day and finding us, we appreciate you.
We definitely appreciate you guys. Everybody, we got Maddie in here, who's a regular. We got Dirty Dick Flair, who's in here. We got Instagram, a wrestling historian, Quick Mix and Nick, Kayutu, Triple E, a longtime member here hanging out. Thanks for everybody tuning in. And we got
Are we missing Venice Beach, Dub?
he usually tunes in. He makes a late run in, it typically seems. So hopefully
I think we got him guessing.
We do got him on. We can keep him on his toes.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, man. Yeah, you're right. That theme.
Is that a beer?
Huh?
It is Friday night.
It is Friday night. I'm drinking on Angry Orchard, so it's a hard cider.
Yeah, Katie loves those.
These are great. Listen, I've had them in my fridge for like well over a month, but I lost my keys that had the bottle opener on it, and I couldn't open it, so I just like waited until I found my keys.
See, that's everyone listening is thinking about a million ways you can open it.
I know, right?
Yeah, with a lighter, with a counter, anything, but that's cool.
Something. I was just like, I'm just gonna wait. I'll find my keys. It gave me incentive to look for my keys a little bit more too, I guess.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So it's been a good week. I enjoyed being home, and yeah, we did the show after I got home last time. I was still brain dead. Takes me a minute to recover. You're gonna hear me talk about that a lot, and that's because I'm repetitive, because I'm consistent.
That's it.
Yeah, but we've been working on pushing the Only Wrestlers. We're having fun with it. It's awesome to see the numbers growing throughout the day, every day, the number of users and the wrestlers. And so we're having fun with it. And the more we do it, the more I think we should take it slow and let it organically control the pace, which was the plan. But even more so now, like the longer term plans, once we get structured and have enough to to start doing like the live action wrestling shows and stuff. Like already people are asking me, do I have an idea, of estimated time or whatever. I mean, I have an idea, but at the same time, we got to get enough people really to make it worth it. Not that any of us partners are talking about it not working, but just like anything, if it doesn't succeed, what does it do? But this one's doing good. Everyone seems to think it's a good idea, and we're having fun with it. I'm still dealing with learning it, but also with improvements every day. Like that's how early we started. So we're still like getting several things a day accomplished. But hey, guess what? They're working on the backspace button, and they got the working now, and so we're still early on. So hopefully everyone will be patient. Everyone that's joining is joining for free, signing up. When you follow Katie and RVD at Only Wrestlers, also the OWA account, we are always going to be free. And then the other wrestlers, some of them still have to set up their prices and stuff. What I did was probably a mistake. When I learned how to go in there, it wouldn't let us put zero or take the prices off. We had to put something. And so to start, before all the wrestlers signed on and did anything, I didn't want it all to be at the bottom, which I think is $4.95 or $5.95, because I didn't want them all to look at each other and think that was the standard. I didn't want fans.
Oh.
And also, if the wrestlers signed on and then raised that price, I didn't want the fans to think that they got hooked, then it went up. So I went through and I just put them all in nines, like when I learned how to sign into the back end, because I thought everyone's going to know if it says 9999, they're going to know that that's just not set up yet. But the reason I bring it up is because I've gotten a few comments. One was on my YouTube page. One was on Sabu's show. LOL, I can't believe some of these wrestlers want $99 a month to subscribe to them. And I really thought nobody would think that. That's why I did that. So I don't know if that was a good idea or not, but nobody's charging that.
Well, look, guys, if you're not aware of it, if you haven't seen the latest episode or watched some clips on YouTube, Only Wrestlers is the new big thing that Rob has launched. Rob and Katie launched together. And it's a very, very cool platform, like OnlyFans, as you would imagine, but for wrestlers. And you subscribe to each of their channels. They set their price point, and they give you exclusive fun content behind the scenes that they would decide to do on. And it's a really neat setup. And yeah, you can sign up right now as a fan. And Rob also mentioned that there's like a referral program that's going down too. That's really cool.
There's a chance for wrestlers and fans to make money off of this, because you tell everyone you know to sign up. They use your referral code. Boom, you get 5% of what they spend for 12 months. So this is something we've been working on for a while, and it's meant to be a win-win for everybody. And we're building a community with the wrestlers and the fans together, and we're going to be moving forward and making decisions together in the wrestling business. So
that's right. Rob was also mentioning too that there's going to be eventually the wrestling promotion OW association that goes down, and you can vote on certain wrestlers that could be in matches, that match type, where it's going to take place, a whole lot of stuff, and an actual physical wrestling event's going to go down.
Yeah, the idea is to keep the vote changing, what they're voting on. Mm-hmm. So I don't, my mind's more on seeing in the future, maybe you're going to vote on what town we come to. Maybe you're going to vote on who's going to wrestle the champion. Maybe, who's wrestling who when we give you the card. Maybe on who to book. Probably not all of it, but it is designed so that as the association grows, so does the voting power, so does their leverage. And so it could be, where they're eventually maybe helping us set everything up, and of course we're going to need help with what should the championship belts look like, and just all kinds of stuff along the way. So starting out real small. In fact, I don't even really want to mention the shows yet, except I got to let everybody know that it's not just a platform to follow your favorite wrestlers and support them, but also we're doing something fun together too.
Yeah. It's a very groundbreaking and interactive kind of experience that you can get early in on right now. Sign up at onlywrestlers.com, and as Rob said, his account is free to subscribe to. Katie's account is free to subscribe to, and then the Only Wrestlers account as well is on there.
Yeah, and until right now, the promotion we're running is anyone that signs up until the end of September gets 30 days free anyway.
There you go.
And if it moves, if we need a little more time, maybe we extend it. I thought maybe we should vote on that. Should we extend the time where everyone gets to sign up for free, or should we end that so that people start spending and you guys start making your referral money? That's something. But really, their input matters a lot, just like it always has. RVD's always been known as the fan-friendly wrestler that goes out back and signs for the fans when no one else will, and does all the meet and greets. And really, it's that spirit, that made me focus on trying to really get this to come from just a partial vision to actually being real.
Yeah. It's a very neat concept, and how it's being executed already, where it's off to a good start. And I think it's a cool thing to kind of like, hey, we're going to slow roll it, kind of take our time with it, and make sure,
And one more thing, we've been reaching out to a lot of our friends, peers, wrestlers. Consider this an open invite. If I don't get to you or whatever, you are invited. The more the merrier. So, I was watching YouTube, a Stevie Richards video popped up. I was like, oh man, I need to reach out to Stevie and say, hey, check out this platform, see if it's something that might be right for you. And I didn't do it yet, but I was thinking, I hope that word spreads and that any wrestlers watching this will check it out, onlywrestlers.com. And then, if that's something that you think would be good for you, then boom, let's do it. We're offering this so everybody can have like their own business, basically. Like it's all together in a community, but at the same time, it offers anybody a platform that has content that they want to share, and they set everything up on it, how often they do content, what kind of content, subscription prices, all of that. So, you got to have some initiative, probably, but it's just like anything else, like you said, like OnlyFans, it's like Patreon or like Cameo. Someone said it's like all these combined into one, and I like that expression.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, and definitely you're already giving that vibe too with it. So exciting stuff, guys.
By the way, when I was reading comments on our show on my YouTube page, there's one annoyed fan that writes, "Man, it's so annoying that Rob has to be working on rolling his joint during the interview. It's so distracting. Like, and couldn't he have some joints ready? How unprofessional!" And I was laughing thinking about that. And then I was thinking, he's going to hate it today when I got to say, I'll be right back and go answer the door because my weed guy's here. But that's happened 3 or 4 times with us too. I guess he missed those, but anyway, I got help today, so they're going to go get it for me because I'm on
my low pot. Anyways, Rob.
You pot lighting on. I do that every 2 weeks. I text him and say, dude, my low pot light is on. Yeah. So I'll be right back. I got to go deal with this.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I bet the doorbell annoyed the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
How unprofessional.
How unprofessional. Silence everything in your house, Rob.
I'm gonna watch someone else. I'm just gonna watch Stevie Richards.
I'm gonna watch Stevie Richards. I do have to give a shout out. Somebody's saying some very funny shit about me in the chat. Let me see. This is what the one guy said. Okay, I gotta find it here. This is a good start here. Listen to this one, Rob. Okay. Here be the rabbit. This cute little Polish twink with his bandana. I'm Polish, apparently, and I'm a twink. And then on top of it, Rob, this is what he said, which is very funny. Baby boy enjoying himself a beer. It's a hard cider. It's even more harder than what you think there.
Yeah.
Right? I'm one step above a Zima right now, so. But guys, yes, we are live. As you can see, we got people in the chat here. Feel free to use the super chat. Helps out the show, helps out the podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, whether you're on Rob's YouTube channel, which is at The Real RVD, or you're at rvdtv.com. And get the word out. Get the word out about this show. Get the word out about Only Wrestlers. And
I'm going to learn to do the podcast on Only Wrestlers. I don't know if we need more software because we've always intended on having a lot of podcasts and different videos to feature on our homepage. And I think, it needs to be more like YouTube and not scroll like Twitter or Facebook like it does in order to capitalize on that. But even before we're there, I was just going to try to do like a live stream and, something. But one way or another, I'm going to figure it out. And also, like, I wonder, does anybody even care if I still do it on my YouTube page? Because they're kind of being buttholes.
YouTube can be buttholes, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll have to try to figure something out with that because that'd be neat to air it on your Only Wrestlers at the same time too. We can do.
Yeah, if not, then we're gonna figure out how to do it, and it might be another show, something different, and we'll have other podcasters on there and stuff too. We got some lined up, and anyone that wants to be a creator that thinks they could use this and capitalize off of having the subscription platform, boom, sign up.
Well, that's what I'm planning to do too. Yeah, you can.
I seen you on there.
Right, I'm on there, so you guys can check me out. I'll make mine pretty darn reasonably priced, easy priced, and all that stuff. You can get some free exclusive content. Maybe I'll post some of the shows early that I do. Give you a weekly recap of shows that I watch, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it might take a minute for it to really find out what it really is, because I know that I'm committed. I want to leave like at least once a day, daily videos to check in. My Cameo had something going like that for a while, but it was hard to get motivated. I kept forgetting that I even had it on there. And then when I tried to cancel it, I couldn't cancel it. I had all these people paying something, and I was like, dude, cancel your card. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. But this is the right reason and the right place, the right community. And, I think that and it might change too, but I think that besides just saying, hi, everybody, happy Tuesday, hope you're having a good day, maybe we do something regular on there. Maybe there's a good morning, start the day off right with a little RVDology in your coffee, or maybe there's a joke of the day, not from me, but, from somebody, all that.
There's a lot of different things people can get creative with for sure on there.
I don't think I'll do the joke, but
you could have Maddie write your jokes.
I can do the Carney expression of the day.
Ooh, there you go. See, that's some quality stuff right there. That is quality. All right. Well, guys, if you have a question, you can use the super chat on rvdtv.com. It's not available right now on RVD's YouTube, but you can use it on the super chat on rvdtv.com. Or, just ask a question. I'll try to keep my eyes peeled. But we do have a super chat from Maddie.
He is and Streas on.
Oh, my God.
There you go, man. We're starting out already.
Look at that. Now, behind the paywall, though, Rob, will you say it, and then will you say what you said?
Dude, I don't know what I'll do, but I didn't say it. You said I said that.
That's true.
No, I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm going to use...
I want somebody to speak Carney all the time.
But we are building a connection and relationships and working together with the fans in a way that I don't think has been done before.
Yeah. It's going to be neat stuff, man. Maddie is asking if you can please roll a joint on the show today.
Well, actually, I just rolled one, and I got that right here, so I'm going to smoke it. But, Maddie, I guess Maddie's not too distracted by me rolling a doobie off the side of the camera.
Is that what you did? That's awesome.
No, I mean, I do it on the show all the time.
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I'm complaining about.
Yeah. Maddie.
I used to, by the way, I used to never smoke on camera. Even though I was an advocate for 20 years, I never smoked on camera till maybe 7 years ago, I guess. Yeah, it was on the Be Real on his, smoke box. The smoke box thing, we're in the car and we're smoking. Katie was on there with me with Be Real. And I was just like, for several reasons. One, as an advocate, I didn't want to lose credibility because basic thinkers will say, like, I usually don't believe anything a stoner says. Or no matter what, you could say, like, dude, it doesn't even kill people, right? They'd be like, you're high, Rob. And people like that could just discount what you're saying. And I didn't want that because I like numbers and facts and statistics. And I think that's what you put up as evidence when you're trying to argue with somebody, just like you're in court. And other people, they don't remember all that stuff. For them, it's better to rebel and smoke and blow in the camera. I never considered myself one of those people that was like, fuck it to the man. Like for me, it was more about debating. And I didn't like the way I looked smoking. Like whenever I looked in the mirror or saw myself on camera or whatever, if I was smoking, I thought that it looked really dirty. And so for all those reasons, I chose not to do it. Even when I was on what's the cooker that he's a cook and he sings and he does that alien show I was on. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Alien,
let us know.
Classified or whatever.
All I'm thinking is Jesse Ventura.
Baby.
Someone
in the chat room, you know who I'm talking about. He had that show called "Damn Fuck That Smells Great" or something like that. Oh. And then he did the me and Sabu were on there, and they talk over the old Alien declassified shows. I can't believe you don't know this, dude.
I don't know it. No, I don't know
it. He's a big into smoking, but even on there, like I didn't want to smoke on camera. But then he was so stingy as fuck. Every time the camera was gone, he wouldn't hand it to me and shit. So I got to go back and be on his show just to get high with him now that I smoke.
What made you flip on it? What made you decide, I'm going to do what
I just thought it was the right time because it was getting legalized everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I had been living in California and Nevada. And I mean, it's been legal like forever here. And so it was normal and not looked down upon as much as it used to be. Another reason that I didn't want to smoke on camera was because I thought like the Nancy Graces of the world would use that against me and say like, you're a wrestler, a role model to children, and you're smoking marijuana on YouTube. I didn't want that. What kids are watching you, and so that was another reason. But then, I also felt like, man, if a kid was going to take after me, I'd rather have them pick up marijuana than cigarettes, just based on the fact that cigarettes are full of carcinogens and kill you and have 400 chemicals in them. And I don't think kids should be smoking weed, and definitely should wait till they're an adult. But, as far as going with a safer choice, I realized that. And I said, all these people that smoke cigarettes and don't mind being seen and aren't chastised for doing it in front of minors, I feel like the time is right. And that's what made me do it. I just thought, we're moving forward as a society. Fuck it. This isn't something that needs to be done in the back seat of the car in the parking lot anymore.
Yeah, it's not like taboo, like as it used to be. Right?
Taboo from Black Eyed Peas. I knew him.
Oh, nice.
Action Bronson. Yes, thank you.
Action Bronson, the rapper.
Yeah, dude, you never seen that show? C. Foster, thank you. Oh. And Dirty Dick Flair. I just scrolled down to the end of the.
Dirty Dick said it first, but yeah.
Yeah, you don't remember? You didn't know that I was on there? I was on there a couple of times.
No, and I didn't know. Well, I know Action Bronson.
Ancient Aliens is the name of the show.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Action Bronson, doesn't he do, what's his name's song? Hook's theme song, I think. He does Hook's.
Does he? He's a big wrestling guy.
Yeah, so, and he tagged with Hook like you did.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah. How about that? Did you see, too, that Hook retired the FTW title this past week?
Nope, I missed that one.
Missed it. He defeated Roderick Strong, and then he retired the FTW title and gave it to Papa Taz, and then they hugged. It was really nice, Rob.
Okay, so no more FTW title, huh?
No more FTW title.
I was thinking that'd be cool if they could make that like the hardcore title or something. But I guess every match there is hardcore, right?
Yeah, kind of. It's like the rules are a little fast and loose sometimes when they have their matches in AEW.
The only rule is everyone has to do a dive every match.
That's it.
It's the only rule. Everything else is up to you, but that's the one.
You must do a dive.
The one requirement.
I want to see Satnam Singh versus Big Show now and see one of them have to do a dive. Hey, a lot of people dove in to the Vince McMahon documentary this week, Rob. It released on Wednesday, and it's been the talk of the wrestling world quite a bit. And I know me and you texted back and forth a little bit about it. Wanted to get your initial thoughts on it. How far did you ultimately get into it after we last texted?
Yeah, so I'm done. I watched Katie and I watched 3 episodes on Wednesday, and I caught the last 3 episodes yesterday. And man, I really enjoyed it. I thought they did a great job. It was awesome learning and just going through the history of what we all loved, growing up on WWF. And then, of course, seeing how I'm interjected into the timeline of everything there is always a fascinating, new perspective to see when I'm looking at the whole big enchilada. And, man, I didn't think it made Vince look bad, a little bit at the end was the worst part, but through the whole thing, it was like a roller coaster, a controversy, and then he slides out of it and he's on top, singing Stand Back. One who tries to bring me down, I have news, stand in my way, I promise you'll lose, stand back. I just think that, it was really put together well. And more intensified with deeper bullshit to have to walk through. And hearing Vince, most of what he said, just like always, I admire his intelligence. I've always felt that way, and I still did watching this. He did show a little bit of a different side of him. He seemed to really be hung up on talking about his sex life and how, he even described himself as someone who's sexually active. It's kind of weird that you would throw that in there, but I guess he was probably very happy and enjoying an affair that he had at the time, probably the one that we all know about now. That was probably going on while he's doing the interview, and that's why he's so high on it, thinking, well, what a life I got. It was right before that shoe dropped. I thought it was really great. When I say that I agree with him, I'm in the minority a lot when it comes to expressing my thoughts and perspective. But whenever people try to dump everything in his lap, I never understand that. Why in the world would I ever blame Vince McMahon for me taking pain pills, or for me getting concussions, or me doing steroids, or me working while I'm hurt? Like, why in the world? I can't imagine any reason, not one reason, except a lie, if I was to put that on Vince and say it was his fault. Now, other people have had different experiences. I've heard some of the boys complain that they were forced to keep working when they were hurt. I never bothered telling them I was hurt. It was all on me if I was hurt, which I wasn't, because I could still work. So, whenever he, like when he slapped the notebook out of dude's hand, and the guy's like, well, how can you say none of these are your responsibility? I mean, they wrestled for you. What the fuck does that mean?
Right.
I agree with Vince on that. I'm not saying that he should have smacked the book out of the guy's hand. He was definitely trying to intimidate him. He kept moving closer and closer to him, trying to bully him and intimidate him, which wasn't working. But I agree with how ridiculous the question is. Do you take responsibility that all these wrestlers died because a lot of them used to wrestle for you? What the fuck? What if a lot of them went to my third grade Spanish class? I mean, unless they got hurt on the job, Owen, that's a little different. Yeah. Owen got hurt on the job, and people are able to link that straight to the production and WWE, and that's so different than someone that wrestled there that did all, Somas and Norcos, Vicodin and Halcyons and Valium way before they ever met Vince McMahon, and they still did it while they were there, and now it's Vince's fault? No, I can't get behind that.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that too, Rob. It's like, how many people have took that into WWE before they went there? If they
all of them.
Yeah, right. All that stuff was kind of a part of the business. Sure, maybe there was some like some people in the documentary said, like, hey, Vince maybe wants you to work out more or something like that. But to say that he was like, hey, he's the reason I took steroids, that's not taking onus on yourself, and that kind of thing. And I mean,
unless some of them actually do have that experience,
right.
But I've never heard of it, and I doubt it.
And even somebody that has had issues with Vince in the past, like Bret Hart, he even said that, no, that's not, Vince never told me that, and he never, I don't think, told me to do, oh, look at that, holy smokes.
Gotta weigh it. I gotta weigh it. I don't know if this seems like 2 ounces, not 4 ounces.
Uh-oh, really? Uh-oh.
It happens. Sometimes I get the wrong one. I always make up for it. Definitely gotta weigh that before I open it, though.
When you watch the doc, Rob, what did you think that were there moments where you're like, oh man, I could have added some good perspective on this, or like I wish I would have kind of said something, or no, it didn't really hit you that way?
It really didn't hit me that way, and I was hoping that I would learn a couple of new things, and I did. One thing that I learned, I knew about the Wendy Richter screw job.
Yeah.
But the story was told last year on one of the, I believe it was the Dark Side of the Ring episodes, which they're getting ready to do another season, by the way. But they told the story, but it was Wendy being interviewed. And the way she described it, it just made it sound like a work. So I never put that much into it, because she was saying, she didn't want to lose the title. But the way she described it, she was like, in this, wrestler goes on like with a mask, and then she pins me, and then I look up and she takes her mask off, and it's Moolah. And I'm like, you knew that was Moolah. So I kind of threw the whole thing out. But the way they told it this time made it a lot more important in the way that Brett even recalled it when he was talking about his situation and said, I knew what they had done to Wendy, so I had that in mind. Like that I think added a lot of depth to their style and their plans or their moves, their move set, what they're willing to do. There was that. I'd never heard about Pat Patterson being accused of
the Ring Boy stuff.
Yeah, I just, I figured, well, I've heard him accused of a lot of stuff, but it was all of men of legal age as far as I knew. And then, to hear Tom Cole say that when he was 16 that he was proposition, that was new to me as well.
Yeah, there was the thing that stood. So I'm kind of with you. There was nothing like that really like, whoa, I didn't know that, but there added some more context and information. Like, I think it was like episode 4 was that started off with the Mr. McMahon character, and I knew he liked Dr. Jerry Graham was his favorite wrestler. I did know that, but he was like, and I just liked the way he walked and did all that stuff, and I was like, oh, that's where he got the Vince McMahon strut. So that was something that I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Nice.
But yeah, Rob, I mean, I said it a little to you off air. I liked it. I do like it. And I think a big reason that I like it is because it brings back the nostalgia of like, hey, that time period, the excitement I had watching the Monday Night Wars, getting to see the underground stuff that was ECW at the time, and it kind of making me relive a lot of those moments and that excitement at the time. And I thought, I want to get your perspective on this too, because I thought so far, the most fascinating episode to me was the very first one, because he did talk about his personal life when it came to like what he might have went through as a kid. But he was also very dismissive of it too. He was like, "Oh yeah, I was abused by this stepdad of mine," and he was like, "But you just got to fight through it." He kind of like just washed over it in a certain way. And then he talks about his dad, and then how he never got like that affection and love from his dad when he first met him. It was like, oh, just a pat on the back. And then he was always kind of trying to fight for that love and affection in a certain way, or try to get that respect from his dad. And so it just kind of painted a picture of like, this is kind of the mentality maybe that Vince has had throughout his whole life, is just like not maybe necessarily addressing those things and like kind of like living and like eating through it almost, And I thought that was a really fascinating aspect of the first episode. Did you get any takeaway from that, or how did you feel about all that stuff?
Well, I mean, it makes me think of towards the end of this series, he made it a point to verbalize exactly how he views dealing with crap from the past. And that was another thing that I thought was really respectful when, he was saying you can't live in the past. You got to say fuck it, and you got to keep moving forward. And he was talking about how you don't burn a bridge in WWE, even though Sable sued for millions. Bring her back if that's what the people want, And he's always bringing people back, Bischoff back, and whoever, even though in Hogan, and even though they may have cost him millions and millions of dollars in the past. He says, and he's right though, like if you can't fix it, you can't do nothing about it, then don't worry about it, let it go. But it's easier said than done, unless you're a sociopath.
Yeah.
I like that though that he said that, and so that makes me understand why he would talk about his past family history and issues that way.
Interesting. Yeah. It's so many different little aspects. Even if stuff wasn't necessarily covered, I think the neat thing about it was the way the people were interviewed, or like how they talked, or you picked up on certain context clues. That was a big takeaway, I think, for me, is like, ooh, that adds different layers that you can almost kind of, you don't want to make assumptions, but obviously you can kind of maybe pick up on some certain things that like, oh, this was something that maybe Vince felt about differently, and then here's Bruce Pritchard's perspective, or here's Tony Atlas's perspective.
I love Tony Atlas.
He was fucking great. And yeah.
He added a lot to it.
He did add a lot to it. Like when they were, what was the thing said? Oh, when they were talking about the Pat Patterson thing, he was like, well, didn't you tell anybody about it? He's like, who am I going to tell? He's the booker.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do? He's like, if I tell him I'll get fired, that's not
Right.
gonna.
Exactly.
Uh
Yeah.
huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He helped about saying a few things that I think some of the other guys either were too scared to say or just weren't going to go there, and I appreciate that. When I see him, I'm looking forward to telling him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was a big show stealer of that whole thing. I thought. Did when you watched the documentary, did you feel like everything was handled pretty fair? Or did you kind of see some moments where maybe like editing kind of came into play with maybe how they were telling the story of certain things?
Nothing really like stood out as like contriving or misleading, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that they did a really good job of getting all the footage that they got together, from past and present, and everything was just so relevant and important, and I appreciated that all the work that they put into that, So, um, like if there was anything, it wasn't done in any kind of malicious manner that I picked up in, and it didn't come across that way. Like at the end when they said, "What's his legacy?" and everyone keeps going, his legacy. That's a good question. And like things like that could have been done editing. Maybe they didn't have that response right then, whatever. But that just moves the story forward and is awesome editing anyway. You know,
Yeah.
and then it was Tony who said the greatest promoter in the business.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's very hard to argue, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
is.
It's crazy to think of how much success that guy had. Building uh, over $1 billion empire and just being in charge of so much going on, like running a fucking army. I can't even imagine having a staff of people working underneath me and keeping track of all of them, a small staff, but to have like the biggest arenas that anyone has ever built and pack those with people and be the head of all of that action that's going on. That's just amazing. That's just like levels and levels and worlds beyond what a lot of us could comprehend.
Right. Yeah. There's so much different stuff and elements of that all come into play. What else did I want to mention to you? So, part of some of the big news segments I think that came out that hit like social media, I know, and stuff like that. And I wanted your perspective on this. I didn't get to this part yet because I'm like maybe halfway into episode 4 right now. But apparently Stone Cold says something about CTE and how he kind of downplays it or anything like that when it comes to he doesn't really like kind of believe in the aspects of it all and everything to that effect. I would kind of want to get what your thoughts were on him saying that and then just your overall thoughts regarding anything.
Yeah, from what I remember, I was surprised, and it made me wonder if that footage was outdated because at first the whole idea did get nothing but pushback, and also we hear Vince even saying, after they described, Chris Nowinski went to Chris Benoit's dad and had to talk him into giving Chris Benoit's brain to Chris Nowinski so they could study it up there in Boston, and that alone was like a really big deal, and then for the perception from the WWE to be, they were talking about this bullshit. And I get it that the dad has to be able to point the finger at something so he can feel better about what happened. But come on. And then even the way that they told that story even made it seem as if when Vince reached out to Chris Nowinski that he was like, let's, if you're going to do something, let's at least do it right, and not just put this bullshit out there. Like that's the way it came across. But I that might have been a little bit of what you were asking about with the editing and stuff, maybe, because I just find it hard to believe with everything we've learned over the last several years that his thoughts, meaning Vince's, and also I find it hard to believe that Steve Austin's thoughts would still be the same now as they were back then, because that was the thing back then, was to just deny it. It's bullshit, and the change always gets pushed back, especially everyone always wants to say it was better in the good old days. That's why you hear parents say, "Oh, we never wore a seatbelt in the car when we were younger, and our parents used to smoke cigarettes with the windows up." And yeah, I went through all that too. But again, look at us, we're fine. That's where we differ. And so you're not fine. You know what I mean? Like you gotta. What's making you unhealthy? You don't even know, and maybe it could have been this. So anyway, the fact that his brain was deteriorated, Chris Benoit's, and he had the Alzheimer's, what? That's just a coincidence. Like he happened to also, besides having Alzheimer's, like a 70-some-year-old. Besides that, he also happened to act unlike the guy that I knew or a lot of us knew and respected, and spent the weekend doing this fucking family side. I don't know. I mean, I really don't believe in coincidences because of synchronicity. I know that everything has its meaning and its place, and that one seems like it's written right there for us.
Yeah, like there's just a lot of indication that, hey, something happened to Chris over the course of the time, and it wasn't just.
But I do agree. It was, them showing him doing the headbutt over and over. I mean, okay, I agree with him there. Like
sure,
that,
yeah.
That most likely had nothing to do with it at all. But but maybe that's more what he was talking about.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Because last week we were talking about like how people have a misconception of CTE and what a lot of the wrestlers in the business perceive CTE to be, or it's not necessarily like, oh yeah, I got CTE. Now there's more to it, like that, and like kind of what I was thinking when I didn't hear Steve say this because I didn't get to that part of the documentary yet, but from what I was just kind of thinking about is maybe Steve was just meaning like, there's more to CTE than what meets the eye potentially, like, and that like, CTE isn't as big as, it's not the constant related to wrestlers all the time. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I thought maybe he was getting at. But like I said, I haven't seen that part of the documentary either.
I really don't remember specifically, but I do remember feeling like that whole piece felt counterproductive especially to it being Concussion Awareness Month, and trying to spread the word about how, if you question it, get checked out. If you think that you might be, you want to get looked at or something, because most likely if you get a concussion, most likely the worst thing that's going to happen if you go tell the team doctor or whatever is you might have to sit out. And guess what? That's good for you. You need to sit out and not play while you're concussed. And that's what a lot of us didn't know. That's what some guys will say they were forced into. That's the thing that Chris Nowinski had a hard time convincing people, that wrestlers had the exact same kind of damage and instances of the head jarring as the football players and then the soccer players. And like they all still give them a lot of pushback on it. But I've been there with them. And like we were at a college in LA trying to with Smashing Pumpkins,
Billy Corgan,
and they were talking to an auditorium full of coaches about implementing some of these new safety ideas that they had. And man, some of those football coaches just would not believe that was a thing.
Yeah.
And it seemed like so like how's this guy going to keep his job standing there saying this is all bullshit while parents are worried about their kids,
Yeah, right. Holy smokes. It's definitely a lot to kind of consider, and there's a lot of elements. It's good that, people are becoming more aware of it, and, there's a better understanding of it all.
And to what you said, a lot of my peers, they use CTE just as a general term because they just think that any concussion symptoms that they have is CTE. Mm-hmm. And that's an uneducated perspective on it. That's not the way it is. A lot of my peers, most of my peers that I talk to, that are my generation or older tell me that they do have some long-term concussion symptoms, be it floaters or headaches or whatever. Most of them do have something. They all think that's CTE. It's not. And I'm glad that Chris Nowinski helped explain that CTE is a degenerative wasting disease. And when you have it, you get worse and worse and worse, and then you're done.
Yeah.
And so for people to think just because they're sensitive to light that they, because a lot of wrestlers, they say that in conversation open. They say, oh, come on, Rob, we all got CTE to an extent. You know that. They haven't done the research or gone through what I had to go through to learn what I learned, but I like helping spread the word and educate people on that. So, get checked out, because if you do say you get your head rocked and then you ignore it and then you go out there and get it rocked again while you're already rocked, well, guess what? You keep doing that, you might give yourself CTE and you didn't even have it in the first place.
Right, yeah. Taking the necessary precautions to what we're doing and what, like, Christopher Nowinski's helped learn about, and the NFL's taking the precautions with football players and stuff like that. It's just like, okay, there's a better process going on for how this is being handled in, like, organized sports or pro wrestling or to anything of that extent. So that's good to know. Man,
what's up, Jay Hazard? New to the podcast.
Jay Hazard, new. All right, got a new guy in here. All right, far out. Shout out to everybody here. Shout out to Ken Terminated. Yeah. Maddie's always in here. Chelsea says, let me see. Okay, let's see. What question? Does a concussion helmet help in all sports like WWE? Would a helmet help with concussions in wrestling?
I would think in the most literal sense that it could, because some of the concussions are just done from your head snapping like a whiplash move, and that's still going to happen. But a lot of my concussions, most of them were from impact, from a chair hitting me, bam, or a chair hitting me, bam, or a chair hitting me. Or a lot of times me bumping and just the back of my head bouncing off the mat. So for those particular instances, if the question was just straight up, would a helmet reduce the potential for concussion damage, I would have to say yes. I would want to. I'm not saying that I would want to wear one or that there wouldn't be disadvantages to wearing it in wrestling, but that would be the answer. Sure.
Yeah. Optimal push adds to what you were just saying too. When I heard Austin was quoted saying, I immediately thought there was more context missing. RVD mentioned it being outdated. That makes sense to me. So
yeah, it's funny. You just asked me about did I notice anything edited that, and then the next question, maybe that,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as everything was editing, but I thought they did a good job telling the story. But if that's not the way that Steve Austin feels now, then they did him dirty, you know?
Yeah, totally, man. Austin was a fun element in it too. I loved how they kind of covered his rise. Obviously, we all know about how he got there, but it was cool to see him being in ECW, the footage of that.
Yeah.
And then also, too, the aspect that ECW got the good hat tip to that, because so many times we see the narrative controlled in the past. It seems like, WWE, the Attitude Era all started in there, and all that kind of stuff. But they actually took note of, hey, ECW really started a lot of this stuff and got the ball rolling with this edgy kind of content. And so I thought that was nice, too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I didn't expect ECW to be a big part of the Vince McMahon story with the rise and fall. Although I did realize, when they were talking about not realized for the first time, but it was more obvious after they were going through the outsiders, who then became the New World Order, as being like the outside team that wasn't part of the company that came in there to wreak havoc. I was realizing like ECW is going to be coming into WWE real soon and doing that same thing and kind of representing that same threat.
Yeah, that's cool. I never thought of it that way. That's really cool too, man. Yeah, right in the thick of that is when I was like, ooh, the thick of my fandom. So that definitely charged up some of my batteries when it comes.
So maybe having ECW on WWE Vince's way, his answer to what WCW was doing there.
That's a great point, Rob. Great point. We'll close it out with just a couple more thoughts. People have been talking about this. I want to get your thoughts on this. This was an unexpected part. We mentioned Benoit on here, and people are saying Seth was one of them who did chime in. I want to try to find his quote, but he happened to say that Chris Benoit was his second favorite wrestler, and he tends to try to separate the art from the artist in certain ways. And then another person also mentioned that too, that they still appreciate Benoit for what he did on the ring. How do you think about like separating the art from the artist, and where does that come into play for you? And maybe in a good perspective of like RVDology in a certain way, maybe.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, that's so heavy. I gotta really dig deep and pull my values out here to even answer that, honestly.
Well, you want to wait a week? We can do it next week.
No. Here's the thing with that. When it comes to separating your feelings and your perspective, I think you should be doing that anyway. I do it all the time. Sometimes I think too much, because then I end up feeling not as strong about my opinion before I try to look at it from every other angle too, and then have myself talked out of my own secure thoughts. And I do that a lot, and it makes me, feel like I'd be more balanced if I didn't always try to see the other view, always try to add an empathetic perspective, and I feel like it's always been important. But the more I do that, it also has some cons to it, because it's like the more humble you get, really, the less special you think of yourself. That's an example, if that makes sense, for better or worse. Egos are out of control. How important are your problems really when you look at you on the planet Earth, in perspective of not even being an ant, and look at all those 7 billion plus people, and you're worried about, your car needing to get fixed or something. It's, but do you want to feel less about yourself, or do you want to feel more about yourself? And I'm always like second guessing and trying to see around as much as I can from all other views. And usually it strengthens my view when I do that. It makes me feel more certain that I definitely do feel like that, because I don't feel like the opposite, like I could imagine he would feel. And sometimes I see everyone's point to where it's a little bit of a struggle, and that's just in general. With the artist, it's not any different than anything else. It's just like, if you're talking specifically, was Chris Benoit a great wrestler? Hell yeah. No one's going to be able to say that he wasn't, And then, did he kill his family? Well, it appears to be the case, right? But the only time when you can't separate that is if you're trying to lump everything in together and say, do I still like Chris Benoit? Is he still one of my favorites? Can I still respect him? And the thing is, it's okay to have everything separate. He was one of the best wrestlers. If he killed his wife and his kid, he was also an asshole. I respected him. I looked up to him. He was intense, but you don't have to make a decision on whether you support him or not, because that's too general of a term. Mm-hmm. Do you support his wrestling ability? Of course you do. Do you support his anger issues or the way he solves problems? Well, maybe not, but you're really like overthinking it when you're trying to simplify things that shouldn't be that simple. That's the way that I look at it. See if you can make the connection here. But I like to think that morally that I would have just known in the 50s, 60s, whatever, that it was wrong to treat black people like they were inferior. Let's go even back. Let's go back to fucking 1850, right? I think that I would have known that it was wrong to have slaves and to treat them like they were subhuman, a lower species than me. I think because of my morals and values, I think I would have been smart enough to not have been like everyone else. But I always try to think, like I said, from other perspectives. And you know, who knows, if I was brought up to believe that, who knows, you know, from when you're a baby, everything that you're taught, and then, you know, you're a kid, a teenager, however old you want to get, like if that is the norm and your family and every white family has black slaves and you're taught that that's the way that you live, then how the hell would you know any better until you're at least an adult and can reprogram yourself with some ideology anyway? But how the hell would you know? You know, it'd be just like, you know, I got brought up eating meat and potatoes, and so like I don't know how to eat seafood. You know what I mean? It's just like it's your environmental stimuli, especially during certain developing years, that give you your thoughts. You know, I still remember, and you'll hear me say this a lot because I'm consistent. I didn't feel like I grew up even like until my mid 40s. Mm-hmm. And I think about certain conversations that I had that I still torture myself over because it's such a little kid thing to do. When I left the Monday Night Raw episode and ECW hightailed it and I ended that whole angle, because I didn't want to wrestle Brian James, I think they call him, but
yeah, Road Dogg.
Yeah, Road Dogg, and it wasn't that I didn't want to wrestle him, but I didn't want to put him over because what's that going to do for ECW? That's the only reason that I'm here. Paul said, anytime they do something that's going to make ECW look less than great, then we don't need to do it. You say the word, boom, we'll get out of here. But when I was talking to Vince right then, and that was the first conversation I had with him, you know, and he was saying, well, of course I expected you to stay here. I never would have put you on my TV if I didn't expect you to stay here long term. And I was looking over at Paul like, you sold me to Vince and didn't even tell me? And he's over there talking to Bruce Pritchard, you know, acting like he's not listening to us or whatever. And me and Sabu were like, what the hell is going on here? I said, and I still remember this because I punished myself over this. I said to Vince, you know, I don't want to go out there and do a job for one of your preliminary wrestlers. What's that going to do for ECW, and how does that help us? And he says, first off, Brian is definitely not a preliminary wrestler. And the reason that haunts me is because I really didn't even know what a preliminary meant. I was like repeating something like a little kid says when adults tell kids what their thoughts are, the kids accept it as if it's their own thoughts. You know, if you're a little kid and when you're going down the highway, your dad points to a cabin on the top of the mountains, way away from every other house, almost impossible to get to, and says, "See that? Man, that guy's got the life. That is my dream." If you're a little kid, until you have the sense to think from other perspectives, that you just got taught what paradise is, so that's what paradise is. Yeah. But then you might learn someday, you know what? I want to live in the forest. Fuck that. I want to be in the city or the beach. But when you're younger, you don't think about that, and you don't think about all the other perspectives. And I think that you should always think about all the other perspectives that you can and consider anything. You know, that's why anything's worth considering. Even if you know it's going to be a no, ask yourself, why is it a no? That's right. No. So that's, you know, when it comes to the Chris Benoit thing, you know, maybe it comes important when you say, should he be in the Hall of Fame, you know? But who's to decide that? The people that run it, you know? I could see him being in it. Here's one. Should they have ended the show when Owen Hart died? Now, most fans say, yeah, I can't believe he went on with that show. That shows you that he's the devil. I've always had the opposite opinion on that as well. You know, I get that. I totally get that. But then when I think about it, I think, just like Vince said, I think if it was me, I think I would want the show to go on. So how can I feel that way not knowing how Owen felt?
Right. And it's it is kind of different. Like when you think about separating the art from the artist, I think it is kind of
Totally
comparable.
different.
Totally different. It's kind of like, because I at the
Hey,
time
just
when
because I said the guy's a great fucking cook doesn't mean he's not an asshole too.
that's it. That's it. And so I loved Chris Benoit. Like during that time, like he was one of my favorites. And then all this thing come out, and I was like crestfallen. It really affected me badly, like from that aspect of it all. And I'm like, man, I can't believe he would do that. And I can still respect the work that he did in the ring. Like I'm not gonna, but I'm not gonna actively go out and watch a Chris Benoit match. If it's on and I see it and I'm like, man, yeah, he was good, he was intense and all that stuff. But at the same time too, it's just like, okay, I'm gonna go watch Chris Benoit matches. Now people might do that differently. Like sounds like maybe Seth might go back and watch a match, or there's another person in here that's pretty big on to Benoit. Like they might go back. It's no fault of they're able to separate that, and it's just like. It's contingent upon how you feel and everything like that. Rob. I wanted to get your perspective for sure on that when people were talking about it in here. So.
Yeah, and they always will. And it's a horrible, tragic thing that happened, so it's definitely worth discussing. But you got to separate all the perspectives. And that's what I always say a basic thinker is. A basic thinker, which I think, unfortunately, is the majority of the people walking in the streets nowadays.
I'm with you.
Yeah, but they don't have the ability to think from any other position except their own. So, those are the people that are just like, the hell are you in such a hurry for that you got to like run in front of me, asshole? Well, why don't you actually think about your own question,
Right.
Maybe he does have a reason, but all they think about is what happens to them. And I think, that it's a problem because, it lowers the whole standards of people's thought processes out there. And everything leads to something else. You know what I mean? Like we wouldn't have as many murderers if we didn't have as many psychopaths, sociopaths. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not everybody could do that. Everyone could just like kill their neighbor, family, stranger, girlfriend, husband, whatever, and then not even sell it. Like Vince said, don't sell it at all. Like I watch those shows when they're in the interrogation room and they're the guilty one, and they do not seem to be bothered by the fact that they just ended someone's life, hours ago. Doesn't even seem to faze them, and that's because they don't have the ability, the psychology to think past their own perspective and understand feelings. They have no empathy, and that's what a sociopath is, and so that's why it's unfortunate that there's so many out there.
Yeah, it really is too. It's true. Man. Yep. Maddie did a couple super chats here. We'll touch upon these real quick, and then we'll get on out of Dodge. Shane was a big fan of you. Shane McMahon, he means. Ever smoked weed with Shane O'Mac? Did you ever smoke weed with Shane?
Could be. I gotta shoot straight with the Van Damme fam here, so that is an affirmative.
Hey, there you go. Hey, what'd you think of Shane in the documentary?
Yeah, I thought he was really interesting, like seeing him talk about what it was like being the son of Vince, and like early on when they were gambling everything and mortgaging the mom's house and all that stuff. It was like Shane said, as a kid, you parents didn't talk financing, so I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
We were eating, and Dad was just saying, "This is really going to work. This has got to work. It's going to work." And I thought that stuff was really interesting, and then also to see him wanting to make his dad so proud and stuff like that. That was a whole different story than I've ever known. So that was cool.
Yeah. I think Shane's a fascinating story in itself. I think he'll be a documentary too. Maddie asks a question here. Any tips on stretching your cervical? Do you adjust? Any cervical tips?
Well, yeah. Fucking you can buy some cervical extenders, and I have a couple, and look on Amazon, the cheaper one. It's like a neck pillow that you wear on an airplane, but it's got air in it instead of foam, and it's like 3 of those hooked up to each other, and you have a hand thing that you squeeze, psh, 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 and when it gets pressure, it stretches your cervical, and then you wear that for a while, so I have that. And then I also have one that's a little more expensive that has like some vibrating options and stuff, and it's electric instead of the hand pump. But that basically does the same thing. It goes bzzz, and that one has shoulder, like a shoulder plate or shoulder. I don't know what the right word is. Almost like a support anyway. So it holds. So it keeps your shoulders down while your head goes up, and that's what's stretching your cervical. So absolutely, that's the best way. Like that's better than any stretches I can give you without equipment, which are very few. I lay on my back and I try to really, really relax my neck, and I try to just use my hands while my neck is relaxed and pull my head forward. But I try to do that, not making my cervical area of my spine compress, but try to keep it out as long as I can while doing that fold up. And that may sound complicated, but it's really important because I can pop my neck through doing that. But otherwise, dude, check that other the neck stretching gimmicks out on Amazon.
Yeah, Seth says the inflatable collars, do those really work?
Yeah, I mean, there's no guarantees on it, and whatever is causing your issues, it might work for you and might not work for someone else. There's a lot of nerves that get compressed when they get squeezed and they get pinched when your cervical starts, when the spaces wears out in between them. And if there's always inflammation, that's always an issue. And the nerves from there go all the way down your arm and shit. And so, yeah, I've definitely been there and I used those things for a while, and they helped a lot because otherwise the other option was $180 at the chiropractor to lay on his elongating table. And really, it kind of did about the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, how about that? Yeah, this has been a great chat today. Everybody's been very engaging, and there's a lot of good questions and stuff in here. We'll be tackling a lot more of this stuff. Guys, if you do want to use the chats, go to rvdtv.com because right now the YouTube on Rob's is down. So if you do want to use Super Chat, that's where it'll be at, is rvdtv.com for the time being. We'll keep you posted about when you can kind of get back.
I'm demonetized at the real RVD.
Yeah, so if you do want to contribute in that form or fashion, check out rvdtv.com and you can do it there. Somebody added a good point too about the podcast. I wanted to try to find that real quick. But Rob, you got anything going on this weekend? Any commitments or anything like that? Or are you just taking it easy?
Home stuff, working, staying in town, working on local projects.
Oh, nice.
So, some stuff that definitely isn't worth talking about yet. That's really exciting. And then also trying to build out the only wrestlers. I'll be thinking of several of the wrestlers I can contact and say, dude, check this out, see if it's for you, and lining up some interviews. I've been doing 2 or 3 podcasts a day to get the word out.
Nice.
And the more ready the website is, the more I'm ready to put more into getting the word out, because like I said, at first people were looking at it, $99.99 for a wrestler. No. And then they're like, and then tonight I couldn't get on my profile.
Yeah.
That it had some weird things coming up. I guess maybe because they're working on it, but so I appreciate the patience with everyone, and that's why it's free. And then even like the wrestlers, like I told them, like, they don't, like, right now during this time when everyone's sign up, they don't have to do anything if they don't want to. It's up to them as far as like connecting with the fans. Better sooner than later, but either way, pretty soon everything will be there because we're working on so much every day. So that's part of my everyday now is just putting at least a little something towards trying to make that grow. And,
yeah, right. It's still in steady wins the race. That's what.
Glad I don't have to travel this weekend.
That's a huge plus too.
Yeah.
Chelsea added. I wish I could find her chat, but she added too how much she loves the RVDology on here, and
Nice.
so she appreciates that. Brother Nero also said too. D'Angelo, please promote RVD's podcast more. I don't have Twitter or anything, and I happen to see the vids. Tons of my friends will love this. I don't think the public knows. I know we're trying to get the word out about it. It's such a good thing, and we have a good community going here. So, yeah, we'll be always trying to promote RVD TV and One of a Kind with RVD, which is on your podcast feeds above. You can go to Spotify or iTunes on there, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can go to rvdtv.com. You can go to RVD's YouTube. The shows will be there, too. 1T Sport. Go there and get some RVD merch. See that QR code over there, over yonder, right above Rob? You can get some T-shirts. You get the RVD hat, the old school RVD ECW tee, and some more designs too.
So, go,
guys, go! Rob, you gotta go too. So,
cool. I made it a little bit shorter this week. It's Friday night, everyone. I know you're ready to go out and be responsible. So,
cut a rug.
Yeah. I don't think I'm leaving the house. I'll probably be watching TV.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I like being home more than leaving the house, and that's something that is apparent like 99% of the time. So, anyway, cool. And check out onlywrestlers.com. Here is something for you. There's a chance for everybody to make money from referring other people. And then boom. So I'm it's even you can just become a recruiter, and guess what? RVD just gave you a job.
Boom.
And every 20 people that you get 5% of, that's 100%.
How about that? So onlywrestlers.com.
Yeah.
You can be a fan there. You can make a little cashola there too. How about that, huh?
About that, yeah. Building a nice community and having fun with it too. And so appreciate the patience and everyone helping spreading the word and being excited about what's to come.
What's to come, guys. Keep your eyes peeled. Sign up for Only Wrestlers. Go there, onlywrestlers.com, and get your fan profile made right then and there, guys. Seth did find the super chat. Thanks, Seth. Boom. Thanks for the music. Thanks for everything, man. Appreciate it. So, all right.
Yeah, there's our sponsor.
Here's our fucking guy right there. Yeah, I'll plug in our sponsors later on. We got Magic Spoon. We got Blue Chew. We got Get Blitzed. We got Manscaped. Mando is coming back, too. So how about that? So we got some fun stuff lined up. Be sure to support us with those sponsors, too. And just keep your peepers peeled. This show drops every Monday at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on your podcast feed of choice on rvdtv.com. And yes, you feel free to engage with all of us. Follow RVD on his social medias at TheRealRVD. You can follow me on X at Dominic D'Angelo. I keep forgetting to promote my other show, which is Rumor and Innuendo. It's my daily wrestling show I do with a former WWE writer. He is giving me hell because I haven't promoted it ever on here. So there it is, guys. Check out Rumor and Innuendo Monday through Friday on your YouTube channel. So
I can't talk about that. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
But it has something to do with this, though.
Okay.
I'm just trying to read through the chat, and Frankie.
Frankie, yeah, he always asks good questions.
So he said, "Did Sheik stretch you guys Stu Hart style?" And he stretched us Sheik style, and the difference was that Stu Hart, would grab my thumb and bend it back and put me in a lock that had me, like you had to sell it. Okay, let go, or you want to like punch him or something, but you can't do that because he's no man. And with Sheik, it was more like putting you through it. Like when he would come in the ring and he would like grab me and choke me and make like bring me forward and push me and do that in the corner post while he's choking me, and then grab my eyeball and pull on it and then bite my nose. And it was more like he was putting me through it all, where it was like like I was living a nightmare or something. Like, oh my God, what's going on here? And Stu's style was a little more putting you in the traps, and hooking you. So total different stretches.
Great question, though. That was Frankie that did that one, huh? He always comes out with the good ones. So, good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff.
And Seth mentioned that he's interested in also being a creator on there.
Ooh, hey, good.
See what he's got, because I know he does my favorite song.
That's right. Seth is a very creative person. I know he's coming up with a Christmas song too. Coming up, I know is on his tap. So
sweet.
How about that?
Jim D.
Jim D. Thanks for the $10, brother. Here, let's pop you up there.
I'm all caught up on the scroll, yo.
Got that scroll down. Scroll down. All right, guys. This has been a lot of fun. Spread the word out about the show. Spread the word out about Only Wrestlers. And have a good weekend, everybody.
Thanks for being motivated. I like all the comments that say that they appreciate my, quote, wisdom and inspiration. And I love y'all. That's why I do it. And I can't do it without knowing that it's doing some good. So I need that, and I appreciate it. And thanks, Van Dam fam. See you next week. Thank you, Dom.
You're welcome. Thank you, Rob. See you guys next week. Oh, yeah, enjoy the weekend, fellas and fellettes.
I'm going to be streaming live on my Only Wrestlers.
Boom. Oh, I didn't even hit end.